I love this game, but thanks to a certain card that makes your opponent skip their next card makes me lose interest in it. Imagine spending 20 minutes creating a perfect build just to lose because of a single card. For example, you've created a Dharma Sword build just for your opponent to make you skip your Dharma Sword card, then you just lose.
Jiangximing is going to be absurdly powerful at the start of the season. Our tier 4 has a lot of text on it, but basically it says like if you play 2 hexagram generators, they went from literal best character in the game to basically a joke overnight, basically. Hello, fellow cultivators, you found us. I'm Subnova or Robin PSI in game.
I'm Aquilo or Aquilo in game.
And I am Red, also known as Red TCG. You can also call me Boost, but whatever.
And I am Abyss or Abyssal, depending on which name is available. Abyssal in game. So, hello everybody, and thanks for stopping by.
Welcome
And
to
this
the
is the
Unrestrained
Unrestrained
Podcast.
Podcast.
Yeah. The Unrestrained Podcast.
So, I guess a good thing to start with is it's the end of the season. So, how did you guys feel about the season? Spacetime Mirage.
God, where do we begin? So, let's address the elephant in the room, which is Flesh. We all remember that Flesh was a tier 4 card, which was admittedly way too much. If the nerf wasn't any indicator, I don't know what is. That has been like, an omen for things to come.
Flesh was bad. I
Uh-huh.
do think the Flesh nerf made it unplayable on any build that wasn't a horrible build, so the Flesh nerf was just kind of more misery.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would quite go that far. I think the Fletch Plantmaster build, unlike Feng Shu, were okay. It wasn't great or anything, but just having an unconditional chase that dealt like 15 damage wasn't the worst thing ever.
It
But
was not the worst thing ever, but it was way rougher on like, well, surprise, surprise, Yanshen, where I would need more quality to get a meaningful amount of star power from it.
yeah, the point is that they nerfed the card and it didn't really have that much of an impact on the board that the nerf was presumably actually targeted towards, which was the Jiangximing Fortune Teller board, which
Yeah.
will probably be remembered as the worst board of the season and probably like the uh, honestly kind of a stain on this season as a whole.
And for pretty good
Yeah.
reason, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like going forward, we can talk more about the tournament, but it's interesting because Fletch itself wasn't very represented in the tournament. Uh, However, um, in the form of bans and in the form of like what characters were being picked, it was sort of still warping the meta, even if it wasn't being played actively, just because of the threat that your opponent could play Fletch. All of a sudden, you're kind of more restricted in the amount of legal builds that you have, which is something that I think largely the game is pretty good at avoiding. But in this case, yeah, it's caused a lot of pain, both in and outside the ladder.
I definitely felt like Fletch got a little bit worse at higher levels because all the builds that Fletch was beating up just like got kicked out of the meta entirely. And so everyone was forced to play like builds that beat Fletch.
Flesh just went, okay, everyone is now divided. Do you beat Flesh or do you not? Are you allowed to play the game or are you not?
Yup. But what makes the whole turn interesting though is that yeah, as y'all have has said, we don't see much flesh, do we? Especially Jiang Ximing as a whole. I think the only time that I've ever seen Jiang Ximing is from Shu, who was playing Fumu Jiang Ximing.
I mean, for me, the biggest takeaway from Tourney is holy shit, child.
For sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Speaking of child, we don't see much Metal Seal nor Needle, do we? Needle, do we?
We
No, it
don't.
seemed like the Chinese community mostly did not pick up on either they like didn't pick up on needle strength or we were overrating it somewhat, which I still feel like getting to the end of the season and having gone through the entire thing, I still feel like Needle was among like if not the single most powerful build I played.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that we were overrating Needle at all. I can't imagine the Chinese community sticking with PMUWF because it was also still incredibly strong and very comfortable into lobbies that were more DX heavy, especially in tournament, and more child heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It-
It's like when one of the best builds of the season appears on already the best character in the game,
Mm-hmm.
you have less of a motivation to switch than like say if like Needle with a Yanchen card.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
like
I guess it's yeah. Uh-huh.
if you don't need a Mirage, then you get benefits from not taking one, right? So you can just if you're already your high end is already so good, you can just take the safety net and although Needle helps your transition through 4, so it's not as if it's like it's not as if it's a taking away from consistency necessarily. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
Well, on the topic of best character in the game, other things that happened this season where we got two new characters, Wangyou and Feng Shu, who definitely there's definitely a lot to say about those two. I guess we'll
So
start with
have
Wangyou because they were the first release. How do you guys feel about this character?
I have been playing an absurd amount of Chi Wangyou. Half the time she feels like a much better version of Drunkard and Chenry. For instance, her tier 1, her innate, it feels like Drunkard's tier 2, except except, I don't know, a little bit better in the sense that, oh, she has actual built-in cultivation now, whereas Drunkard does not. When he is the one who wants cultivation, but that is besides the point.
Well, it's not exactly
The
cultivation so much as more of like a built-in like windrows kind of effect. So are you
Yes.
gonna hold cards without a speed cost? But you don't actually get additional speed if you were gonna eat all your cards anyway.
Yeah, that's a better comparison. You are right. Yep.
Mini
But
Windrose, and she activates it before play in comparison to Drunkard.
But to be fair,
yeah.
we expect tier 1 abilities to be better than tier 2 abilities most of the time.
hmm
That is
But
true.
I guess that is not the only thing, the only reason why she's powerful, right? Because
Of
of,
course, yeah.
her. hmm
I think it might be barely on the radar.
Let's talk about the abilities that we all know are the powerful part of Chiwangyo, which is her tier 2 Herbs Flourish and her tier 4 5 Elements Gather Chi. Of course, are
Yeah.
designed to work very well together.
Yeah.
And for
As
those of you
much
who
as
haven't been following,
Mhm.
sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. No, you go ahead,
For those of you who haven't
please.
been following the season, Chiwangyo's two abilities are her tier 2 says every time you play a card that isn't a 5 elements card, which can be like, Fletch or World Smash, but also any side job card, you
hmm
activate Wood Spirit. And then every time you activate Wood Spirit, you also gain 2 max HP, but not HP. So the notable part of this is it lets you, whenever you play any side job card, trigger a chase from Ultimate World Formation because you are activating Wood Spirit. And then also, it lets you trigger her tier 4 passive, which is whenever you activate any 5 elements once per turn, gain 1 chi. The
Yeah.
combination of these was, in effect, you'd be able to create a UWF board where you would be able to generate a ton of chi for free, including from your tier 1 passive at the start of the fight. You could play, for instance, a Wood Spirit Willow Leaf on turn 1. And then additionally, you could play any side job cards you wanted on your UWF board and have them chase for free.
And give you chi.
Yeah, and give you chi.
Yeah. We have a lot of opinions on that, right? On one hand, it enables some of the most outrageous UWF boards out there. On the other hand, though, boy, is it fun. It's like playing with Legos, you know. Your imagination just runs. Your imagination is just allowed to run wild. I think we
If I
haven't
can,
like fully explored what else we can do with her. It's just that
yeah,
the
for
use of
sure.
voice we do on her. That's like the first thing we think of.
If I can cast my memory back to before her release, when we just had her release preview, I remember being pretty excited because the Five
Yeah.
Elements characters that use side job cards space was woefully empty.
Sure,
And
yeah.
there's still so much she can do creatively in that space. It's just unfortunate that the UWF board is so freaking good.
Mm,
Yeah. How do we feel
so,
about Wangyou's power level compared to the rest of the game? Because I know we were talking about her being like best character in the game by far at the start of the season, and then we got Feng Shu to release, and we got more Mirage cards to release, and then we
And
got her
then
into the
remember
tournament,
Child.
and there were actually not that many people playing Wangyou, and they mostly did like we had a couple of lobbies where Wangyou won, but a lot more where it just like kind of fizzled out and didn't get anywhere. And we saw a lot
mhm,
more of the child UWF board by comparison. So how are we
yeah.
feeling about their power level, having gone through the entire season with them?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting question. Oh, for to clarify for those who are not uh, fully aware, the really powerful thing about side job cards is that it they still activate the element right for UWF. So, for instance, um, your disturbing Fulu says that it chases, and your elixirs say that they chase, and so forth. Um, I think
Yeah.
one of the things that perhaps the tournament is telling us is that maybe Rebirth is a little bit underrated. Um, maybe it's hard to say that a fate that's so powerful is underrated, but that's really the one thing. The child has Rebirth, and then they have the sort of Wood Secret Seal in particular. So those are kind of the two things that really separate Child from Chiwangyo.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, I still, in my heart, it feels like Chiwangyo should be the stronger character, but I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts. Just like on the high end, she's better, but maybe the consistency just isn't quite enough.
I mean, I think there are two other things that make, at least two other things that make Child significant. One of them is that they're really fast. Because their tier 1 is +4 cultivation at base, in addition to like Wood Seal being broken. And then also they can take card draw on tier 5. And I mean, I guess so can Chiwangyo, but the point is like they're consistently going to be going a lot faster than Chiwangyo will be. And then also
Mhm.
the secondary impact of Wood Seal is that you always have your attack up solved every game. So you can like draw UWF and immediately have a board on round 11 with no other help. Like just UWF and a bunch of tier 1 cards can just like be a board that's really strong.
I
Right.
think Explosion is also like Chiwangyo notably does not have a lot of early game support, and
For sure, yeah.
Explosion sort of solves your mid game, helps you a lot in the end game on Child. And I
I think
think
I
Chiwangyo's
because
early game support is more about Heavenly Rain and just like
yeah.
expecting that you can lose some of your early game fights because you're gonna have +25 destiny per game. But then
Mhm.
this net doesn't necessarily lend itself to you get to tier 5, you've lost a lot of your fights, maybe, and then you still have to actually assemble a board. And unlike Child, you can't just like draw UWF and have a board because you're gonna run out of UWF charges, and you're not actually gonna have damage on your board because you didn't get Wood Seal for free. You have to actually find your Willow Leaf and your Fragrant and your Elixir or Divine Walk Fulu. And then meanwhile, everyone else is just immediately like power spiking on round 11, on round 12, and you're gonna have to work really hard to survive.
Yep.
Yeah.
The other thing is that because Chiwangyo has such a rough early game and a rough 11, she can't really afford to be Plant Master. And
Yep.
I mean, Vine is a card. Vine
Yeah.
is a card.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've seen Chiwongyos leveraging Fuluist and things like Falcon Devil Incantation instead, which is maybe not quite on the level of mine, but it's very good in its own way. Like weakening your opponent for 2 turns and then also flawing them, and then this also having Chase, so that Chase with flaw being especially valuable because you can get a full extra turn worth of value out of the flaw.
Mhm.
Like,
Yep.
it's very different than Vine, but I would say it's about as powerful. Just like powerful in a way that like Vine is good on its own. Thousand Evil needs support to be good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just yet another thing where like Chiwangyo needs a lot to go right for them to really actualize their full power.
Yeah. I think the thing here is that she just likes having her fate set, you just was it you don't have much you don't was it you don't have much room to gain codes. Like for instance, Drunkard doesn't care much about a lot of his fate. Maybe he only cares about his tier 2 and maybe 5. Half 5 is like
Yeah.
half the time. Therefore he can just take code however he want until he
This
until,
tier 5
until
is cult
he
anyway.
dies. As for Chi Wan Yo, half of her stuff are good, so you kind of wanna take them. Not only that, the fates that she like, well, the fates that she like are at her worst, her weakest points on, especially on tier 4, where people, like you said, they just spike out their ass pretty damn hard.
Yeah.
She don't get to have cold on 4, unfortunately.
I mean, her tier 4 is good tempo for what it's worth. It
Yeah.
lets you play like these wood fireboards without having to put a cheeseburst on them.
Yeah,
But you do have
you
to
can play.
have the cards. Like you need your Sparse Shadow and your Blast, ideally.
Yes, you are able to like play around. You can care less about chi, and that is, I feel like that is really good. It lets my imagination run wild. Not only that, it also makes the what Frag the Spiritus Fragrant board a little bit better. Not by much, but it does matter in some way by like what, one increase attack, which is a win too
Yeah.
much to me. Mm-hmm.
No, it definitely can be useful on tier 4, but then the problem is if you're rolling on tier 4, then those are rolls you haven't saved for tier 5 to find your UWF. And this character
Yeah,
really is like designed around specifically finding exactly UWF.
I think that's a pretty interesting. I think that's a pretty cool thing, right? Um, uh, oh no, within like, was it? I've only been playing her for maybe a month, but I've been juggling between rolling on 4 or spanking. It always keeps me on edge. It keeps me guessing, keeps my eyes open, forcing me to just read the room, read the lobby, and such. I may be a masochist, but I don't know. I think people out there think the same as me as well. What do y'all think?
For a long time this season, we talked about maybe Chiwangyo needing a nerf, like them being too strong.
Oh
Having
yeah.
played through a full season of them, do we still think that's the case?
God, this is so hard to say. I don't know if they just kill her tier 4, or change the way she it works. Like it can't activate on turn 0. Then it would be pretty damn boring. You know, the devs will have like balance between fun and um you know actual balance and all.
I mean, they would have to find new
Personally,
boards at this point.
Personally,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want them to change the tier 4 out of personal bias. Like, God, if they just nerf it, what am I gonna do, man? How else am I gonna make curse ass boards with with this dinky tier 4 now. What y'all think?
Yeah. I think one of the salient points about the way we talked about Wangyou and possible nerfs is that we did consider Chinri one of the best characters in the game, and Wangyou is pretty much better aggro Chinri.
Yeah.
End
I-
game, end game, not talking about the mid game because Chinri has a lot of support there. One of the
Yeah.
more common things we talked about in terms of Chinri was removing her Storchi. And I think that's an even more fair shout for Chuangyo.
Yeah.
But there's also the swap P4, P5.
Yeah, and
As
like we talk about, like Blossom Dance is a tier 5 ability, and Chiwangyo's tier 4 is like pretty close to being Blossom Dance.
it is
They work
it is
similarly.
possible
It's
to
for both like
say
one
if
cheap return.
yeah.
Blossom Dance like gives you a little bit of HP and some chases, versus like Gathered Chi doesn't force you to play in generating order, and obviously it works with their tier 2.
And it works with side job
It
cards.
could totally be on tier 5.
It's a very,
Especially when you
very
consider that
strong
like
fit.
Chiwangyo's actual tier 5, Forget Worries, is like forget is the accurate part of the name because people just forgot it existed. I don't think I've seen a single Forget Worries in play since like week 1.
There are so few of them, and I think putting it on tier 4 might also make it a more appealing or interesting tech option that gives support on 4.
I think my big issue with Chiwangyo though is it kind of speaks to the general design of characters nowadays, which is they give characters these like unique but really strong tier 5 late game boards. And then they're sort of balanced around the fact that they're weaker early. And I feel like these designs don't lend themselves to as interesting gameplay because what ends up happening is either you fizzle out early or
Yeah.
you make it to late game, assemble your board, and then even then you're kind of not playing the game because no one can beat you.
Yeah. Actually, I remembered a thing I wanted to say about whether or not Chimangyo needs a nerf kind of depends on what we think the power level should look like. Because a
For
lot
sure, yeah.
of the more recent characters have the kind of feeling that Chimangyo does, where a lot of
Agreed, yeah.
their Fates kit is really streamlined towards a strong end board. And if you think that's the power level that the game is mostly at or is moving towards, then she's fair. But on the other hand, there's a lot of earlier characters who are significantly weaker than that and probably can't survive in an environment like that.
Or Yan
And if
Chen.
we want, like Yan Chen, everything I say is informed by the fact that I chose to play Yan Chen.
Don't worry.
I mean, I played Woohoo.
We will get there.
We will get there very soon because Feng Shu exists.
Yup.
Yes. And if speaking of power level, we also have the next seasonal mechanic to talk about, which we'll get to in a bit. But first, let's talk about the other new character from the season, Feng Shu, who arguably might be more powerful than Qi Wangyou. So,
Definitely more powerful early.
where to even start with Feng Shu? All their passives are worth discussion. I don't think we have time to get through all of them because we still have to talk about the rest of the Mirage cards and also the entirety of the previews for next season.
Definitely.
But to like quickly go over what the passives do. The tier 1 lets you get like a mini Shattered Dao every tier. Whenever you break through, you lose 4 cultivation and draw 4 cards. Tier 2 gives you a card that is like a mini Thousand Evil incantation, where it doesn't give you apply internal injury, but it also gains chi instead of losing chi, and it's a consume, and it also makes your flaw and weaken a little bit better. Which, when you think about it, Thousand Evil incantation is a tier 5 card, so it's kind of absurd.
It has a
Their
lot
tier
of
3 lets you gain hexagrams every turn if you gain chi, which is like comparable to like Yan Chan's ultimate hexagram base, except you don't have to play it.
Yeah.
But then like it's like the trade-off is it's not +1 cultivation, and it's also maybe a little bit harder to consistently generate chi, sort of. Our tier 4 has a lot of text on it, but basically it says like if you play 2 hexagram generators, they get some additional effect. The notable ones are, I think, Lake Hex, which applies 3 internal injury, which is a great tempo piece.
Yeah.
Gen Hex, which applies 4 stacks of Flaw, which is a really big boon to your damage. And then Heaven Hex, which will always chase regardless of whether you meet the 3 hexagram condition.
Yep.
And then her tier 5, I'm not going to talk about too much. It was very busted on release, being essentially like a +3 cultivation fate that also gave you basically like a better version of Yanshan's Fury Thunder.
Mhm.
And now it's just a +1 cultivation fate that gives you a better version of Yanshan's Fury Thunder.
It's almost like Yanshan's Fury Thunder with +1 cultivation by itself, anyway.
I know, it's almost as if she just has better Fury Thunder.
Yeah,
I didn't
it's
say
like
that.
she's Yan Chen, but better. This surely isn't a trend that we are going down, right?
Yeah, I mean, we had Chinri but better, we have Yanshan but better. Though I guess Yanshan but slower also. But it definitely is a worrying trend that we're going down of like, are we going to have all the old characters become obsolete?
And that is not
Yeah.
something I thought we'd be saying about Chinray, ever.
Yes.
Yeah, like Yanshan was arguably already obsolete. Sorry, Akilo. But Chinri was definitely
He
not.
was something.
They went from literal best character in the game to basically a joke overnight, basically.
Dude, yeah. The moment Wangyou was released, I don't know whether I wanna keep playing Chenrim or I questioned my allegiance to her, but don't worry. I'm holding on to
Yeah.
it.
My one point regarding better Chinray versus better Yanshan is that Chinray still does have unique character boards that are maybe strictly worse, but at least don't do the exact same thing
For sure. She has
as
an
Chiwonyo's
identity.
boards. Whereas Yanshan's strictly worse Thunderboard just
Yeah.
does the same thing as Feng Shu's, but worse.
But you get to go first, though.
I do get to go first, this is true. But
That's not
on the other hand,
nothing. Like,
finding
we talk
5
about
Thunders,
Nongong being strong because they go first, right?
yeah, it's not nothing, for sure. It is a big deal, but she can, if she wants to, mitigate the not going first by putting up Weaken if she feels like she needs it. And
I'm
I
sure
think
Xian
the
is gonna
mini
come.
Shattered Dao, the mini Shattered Dao and getting to cheat on Hexagram are pretty big in terms of how quickly she can assemble the board.
And we
Yeah,
saw a lot of Feng Shu getting banned in the tournament. I don't know if we
We
saw
did.
them getting played a lot. We certainly saw them getting like banned every other round.
At least
People
anecdotally,
getting Astro Clutch
I
is also a
I
good
saw
Feng Shu
them banned
card.
without being in play,
Yeah,
which
we never
was
really
pretty
actually
awesome.
saw. I don't know. I wasn't able to watch the later rounds of the tournament, but did any of you guys see Feng Shu being played in like the semifinals or finals?
I don't remember anything about her in the tourney.
Yeah.
she had a decent finals performance. Not a lot of play, but when she was played, she did pretty well, I think. I think yeah, the what Aquilo said, I agree with in terms of like Chi Wangyou may be the better Chinray, but Chinray has redeeming aspects, right? We gotta
Yeah.
like her tier 4 is nothing to sneeze at, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
T-Force.
Yeah.
I
But
love it.
Feng Shu is just this character makes me mad that it exists because it cheats on hexagram, it cheats on, it gets every form of you get internal injury, you get flaw, you get weaken. You can put them wherever you want. Your weaken and flaw get even stronger because it's not enough to get them for free. You also need to get a buffed version of those effects. Um,
Yeah.
just the
Your
amount
Heaven
of
Hex has the text of Divine Walk Fulu on it if it didn't consume as soon as you get it to level 2.
yeah,
Yeah. Like, what if we put the best card in the game and made it better?
you get a free Heaven Hex level 3 instead of a Heaven Hex level 1, basically.
It even
Obviously
adds
the
the third hexagram with the tier 3.
yeah.
It
So
does.
so
Mhm.
this character is the only good thing. So she makes an extremely strong burst deck. If you can survive the burst, you do usually win in the sense that, the way that burst builds go, right? She spends a few turns kind of powering up or not doing a whole lot. Subnova, can you rattle off her standard board off the top of your head?
Well, I've been seeing a lot of the Plant Master board, but if we want to talk about the board with the tier 5, it'd be like you have the thing that applies flaw and chases, and then you play like what was it? Are people still playing Dotted Around, or is this
No, it's probably just Starry. I don't think they're taking Dotted Mirage on her anymore.
it'd
It's
probably be
not
like
as
Flaw Chase, Lake Hex, Heaven
Yep.
Hex, Starry Moon, Astral Move Fly, Five Thunders, Weekend Chase, Void Scroll.
Mhm.
Or maybe
Yeah,
Lake Hex becomes Gen Hex for Flaw. I guess you already have Flaw.
You already
It
have
is probably
Floyd.
Lake Hex forever.
yeah, I've
I
seen.
think this is why people are like mostly playing Plant Master nowadays, because with Gen Hex you don't need the Flaw Chase anymore.
And when you drop the Flaw Chase, you get a lot more options for big damage sides. And Vine.
Yeah.
Because Vine
And
comes with
Astral
PF.
Fletch with your chase.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
I
of course
mean,
it's
Mhm.
Astral Fletch again.
Vineside in some ways deserves its own tier of power level. She gets it, and she can play Plant Master easily because the big downside of Plant Master is that you're weak early, and she really isn't. I mean, okay, the early and mid game is not like the strongest phase for her, but it's certainly not bad. You're given lots of tools. You've got the kind of Heptastar tier ones, the um what's this? Is it Swallow? What's that one called?
Arrowtail?
Sparrow's Tail.
Yeah, Sparrow's Tail, which does 1,000,000 damage. You have Flank, which does 1,000,000 damage on star points. You can kind of
Yeah.
do the
You have the Void Scroll, or the
yeah.
Jade Scroll rather.
Yeah, so you can do that. You can get Weaken and Flaw. Yeah, to me, this character is insane, um, and is only being kept in check by the fact that the seasonal mechanics lately have been so strong that base level, the base power level of a character is maybe less impactful uh, than than maybe previously it has been.
I do
So it seems
think
like
the
we're
one.
all kind of in agreement that this character needs a nerf then.
Yeah. Although the one other thing keeping her in check is, in fact, the fact that she's slow because
Yeah.
having purely aggro decks that go second historically does not work out all that well. She has a lot of factors that help her mitigate that. At least she's slow.
Yeah, we saw a lot of Feng just like getting annihilated by Wangyou, by Child in the tournament, I think. It's just like they're another aggro board, but they go faster than you and have mitigation like Vine, like Flamesteel Rebirth, like Thousand Evil Incantation.
I guess was it when you're at the top for so long, everyone is gonna be your enemy. It's low when you're top, so at some point people are going to learn how to adapt to what you do, and therefore, yeah, your status will be kept in check, and but it doesn't change the fact that she's not okay. No bueno, my friends.
Not
All right, let's
at
talk
all.
about the seasonal mechanic because
Okay.
we have spent a lot of time talking about these two characters, and we should talk about these Mirage cards since they are
Sure.
all going away forever.
Yeah.
And I guess
Except
you'll still see them if you play Ascension Tower
Mhm.
or practice mode.
or practice mode. Yeah.
It's
But
not
yeah,
like Door team again.
well, we're not gonna be
Yes.
able to talk about all 40 of these, obviously.
Yeah.
So let's all pick what we think are the most notable ones. I guess we can all pick like one or two of what we think are most important to talk about or our personal favorites.
Mhm. Okay. What do we pick here?
Abyssal, do you want to start us off on this one?
Yeah, I think maybe the most impactful kind of at least in the end of the season. So we already talked about how much we hate Fletch, and uh, we kind of it's suffice it to say that Fletch is very strong with Zhang Shimeng and Fortune Teller, because you can
For sure.
basically just play. You can prevent your opponent from moving all the time. It's like almost an Exodia, and just getting one extra chase for a card that costs nothing is just extremely strong. So I don't know that we need to belabor the point of Fletch. Perhaps more
Sure, yeah.
interesting to talk about is the cards that these sword formations were kind of abusing, the unrestrained dragon coiled, right? And the one that the cat was using all the time to
Cloud deck for them?
yes, to get sword intent for every card that you've played. So it obviously um, synergizes extremely well with playing Chainsword Rule Sky, which
Yeah.
lets your sword intent board go to the moon if you go to second cycle, and
Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
so on. So I don't know if these aren't really my thoughts about it, but if you guys want to say, I know previously there's been a lot of hate towards the kind of defy spam rule sky kind of
Mm-hmm.
builds. And this, in some
Yeah.
ways, is these builds, but even stronger. But they at least have like a unique character to them. So, um, I don't know what you guys think
Well,
about
I
that.
think Dragon Coiled in particular, that one didn't really have much of a unique character because it was really just the exact same Defy board we've been seeing forever, but now it has a Dragon Coiled on it.
I
Mm-hmm.
think one of the big things for both of those cards actually is that they gave scaling to boards that historically don't scale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sword Intent being able to scale over to the top of basically anything because an extra like 9 Sword Intent every cycle is a big deal. Like with a 6 hit and then Flaw, that's adding up to like an extra 70, 80 damage every single cycle.
Yeah. Traditionally, the Defy board tends to struggle a little bit against scaling, like, I don't know, Iron Bone, Chinry, or, Healer stuff. Against, like, Defy boards, they are, it's a bit of an easy matchup, but thanks to Dragon Coil, God, man. God.
Yeah.
Dr-
I mean, I saw a clip of, I think it was Null, who the other day managed to use the scaling on Dragon Coil to beat the Tianji sideboard. By just
Yeah.
like blocking all their damage and then eventually scaling over the top of Revitalized and just like killing the Tianji through 100 HP.
Mm-hmm. It's insane. it,
Red, you want to name a couple?
um. Okay, so apart from Flash, another card that got it a bit early on is Recovery. Back then, Recovery used to, fully revert your HP from, like, before. Wasn't there a card that did the same thing? Like, I don't know, Pot or
Yeah, we had
something?
a Xuanming recurring back in
Yes.
Relic season, and then we also had a Mirage that would occasionally show up that would let you add Xuanming recurring to your card pool.
Yes, Recovery, Mirage Recovery. Um, Basically did the same thing as those two, except Recovery came in with some increased attack as well. Not. I'm not saying that the increased attack is what seems to deal. I mean, obviously, but the fact that we got the full heal and then we got the increased attack in a board that that's all about just punching people to death. It's
And the
not
Chi
fun.
too.
Yeah, it's not only is it flavorfully, I don't know, nonsensical. It's the balance is a bit off. But now they have got it. It's so hard that it feels like, oh, it heals just as much as if you're playing Thorns, playing Max Thorns, in fact. Which is, yeah, I don't know, man. It's a bit off for
Has
me.
anyone seen a copy of Recovery in play in the last couple months?
No.
Mhm. Nope, I haven't seen Recovery ever since the nerf.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they did go a bit overboard on that nerf.
Yeah, as you said,
Yeah.
they basically gave it the ban hammer. Although I don't hate it
Yeah.
because, especially with the release of Wangyou, when she was playing this card on her UWF, she could like get by with 0 quality because she could always survive the second cycle if she just played some M recoveries.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing a board like Dharma or something that does all of its damage on one single turn. She just gets
Yeah.
I feel
to
like we can say that a lot about this season. Just like seasonal cards that should be well balanced, having to be redesigned around the broken character.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true.
It's a trend that I am not a fan of. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
it's also it's partly because of God, I miss vanilla Xian, but also if we had to keep balancing characters around season, then how much of the base game do we even have anymore?
Yeah.
Speaking of base game balances, actually, and this isn't a Mirage thing, but it is something I like to talk about. Sword Intent
Yes.
Surge not costing chi. I think that was a
Oh.
very good change
Yes,
to the
that was
base
a
game.
big change
I
this
really
season.
like that.
Oh yeah.
I'm a big, big fan of how that played out.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think Sword Intent has needed. It's weird to see Sword Intent has needed the buff because Fortune Teller Cat Girl was kind of a menace 2 or 3 seasons ago.
Mhm. Definitely.
But it feels like in general, Sword Intent has not been a very powerful game plan, especially at high levels.
Mhm.
And the dev explanation was that like you really need a lot of chi and specifically like a high level Cloud Dance rhythm because that's the only Sword Intent card that gives more than 1 chi.
Mhm.
And
Uh,
buffing Surge really did a lot for the Sword Intent decks because like now you can spend your 1 chi on a Rule Sky and still play like Surge or even multiple copies of Surge.
I think it was a really
If you happen to have chi, you can spend it on like a Thousand Evil Incantation also. It did a lot for Sword Intent decks in a variety of ways.
um.
There's
Oh,
also like
oh.
the embarrassing thing where like you would be playing like sort of like an Inspiration Sword Dharma build that's like sort of like a hybrid Sword Intent board.
Mhm.
And like a level 1 Cloud Dance Rhythm would be more damage than a level 2 Sword Intent Surge because of the impact on your Dharma. And that was just like kind of embarrassing.
that is a bit sad. Yeah. I'll just
I think that's
call
no
that
longer
one
the
of the
case with
cards.
the additional 1 chi you'd get.
I'm just gonna call that one of the M cards that I want to talk about because I
Sure.
think that was fun to talk about. And then Needle. I got to talk about Needle
Needle.
because I played Needle, and
Yep.
Needle was not okay in any sense of the word. I think the
Yeah.
one thing that saved everyone was the fact that Needle never caught on, despite
Yeah.
Do you want
despite
to
our best.
describe what the needle board looked like?
Yeah, so the Needleboard is Cirque with a Fire or Earth card at the back of your board. Cirque and Needle.
Yeah.
Metal Secret Seal, Heartfire. You can, if you needed to, if you needed to avoid defense, you would put in a Cloud Elixir, Flash Fires and Shuttles, and extra Cirques can be slotted in, but those 4 cards were the heart of the board.
Yeah.
And, I mean, 3 of those cards are tier 4 or below, and one of those
Yeah.
cards you get for free as Nangongshan. So, it was incredibly easy to assemble, incredibly strong, and even the fact that it gets hard murdered by Ice Guard Elixir is mitigated by the fact that you get Child's tier 3, which eats
Yeah.
people's guard up.
Yeah, it does a lot.
It was just not okay as a build,
Uh-huh.
and all I can say about it is that I did enjoy playing it, but I'm very glad it did not catch on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Like I think the
Uh,
one thing holding this build back was it had a pretty significant weakness to Duan Shuan because of physique, breaking your Heartfire, and also to other Nangongsheng players because
yeah.
they have the Flame Soul Rebirth, which can be difficult to deal with.
Yep, because they're going first, and you'll get roughly the same number of turns. And you do need
Yeah.
to One of the board's main weaknesses actually was worrying about defense from 5 elements characters, I feel. You had to worry
Yeah.
about defense from sword sect characters quite a bit, but you were usually safe to put in your Cloud Elixir, whereas with 5 elements characters it was 50-50 whether or not they just murdered you if you tried to put in your Cloud Elixir, or if they
Yeah.
combine worlds and you didn't have your Cloud Elixir and you cried.
Beetle definitely had some rough matchups.
Combined World
I think
Jojo.
most of them were within its sect. I think very notably it matched up poorly into World Smash, and it
Yeah.
matched up
Yes, you really needed the
Wangyou, and
Ice
it
Guard
matched up
Elixir.
poorly into other children.
Yes, it's
Truth.
worth noting that you needed to take his tier 5 as well. And you have to take all his innate, really. And
Yeah.
because of that, you have to deal with literally all of the minus HP modifiers. You ended up with, I think, a total of minus 41 HP. Which
Mhm.
means that, like, with especially like the Cosmos Seal World Smash board, your opponent would play a World Smash and it would literally just
It
take
would
out
just
your
kill
entire
you.
first life on turn 2.
Yeah.
You were just done.
Yeah. Truthfully though, y'all like, sub and then Okino, y'all made me pick up the build and yeah, the fact that most of the pieces you get are can be obtained from early on, at least relatively speaking, like specifically, I don't know, tier 4.
Yeah,
It's a bit, I don't know, it's a bit yeah, it's a bit too much.
A
But
little,
it's a
then
little healthy.
yeah, but
a
then you
little.
had to come across people with like defense and oh god, what do I do when I don't have Cloud Elixir? What I'm trying to say is that playing Needle Child feels rather saggy, but once you get the counter cards, you get the tech stuff, you just draw the out. You feel
Yes,
like
and
I feel like
Infinite
you
King
dodge.
Scarlet clip here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it can be skillful, but it often
Yeah.
also is.
Yeah,
I've had some games where I had to like make do with what I have. I had to like fight against 3 crappy matchups in a row against Don Sean, against defense specifically Chiwangyu. Oh, no. LCY Lee Chen Yun, a character
yeah,
that we got from like last season, and then I don't know another Don Sean, which Child is bad against. I didn't have goddamn Clan Elixir or any way to fight Don Sean's big pool of HP. It's
yeah,
exciting, but boy, it hurts my heart.
Yeah,
It
the
gives me a heartache.
the damage that DX has done to Heartfire has scarcely been recovered.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Heartfire.
Also,
They're never real.
Cloud Elixir. I mean, it's a good card, but it's no cheap refusion, so it's not a
Yeah.
so
Okay,
Yeah,
sir.
exactly. It's almost better.
Hey, sir.
While
All
we're
right.
on the topic of Mirage cards that were a menace on tier 4, I'm going to talk about
Yeah,
one of my least favorite Mirage cards from the season, which was Youthful Vigor.
yeah.
So what this card did was it was 6 attack times 2, but then for every some amount of HP you healed, and it would be a smaller amount at every level, it would make an additional attack. So in practice, what this said was like it would be a 5-hit attack on tier 4, which is something Duanchuan doesn't usually have access to. Like usually the most hits you can get is 2, maybe 3 if you have like a sword bamboo, and then until you get to like 75, 100 physique round killing palms, you aren't really getting a multi-hit this strong. And this is important because Duanchuan has cards like Subdue Dragon, and on Ming Ming you have Styx Knight, which can give really high base damage to your Crash Fist. And then if you also play Crash Footwork, then you can transfer this high base damage to any of your multi-hits. So what ended up happening was like Youthful Vigor, which is a card that attacks for like 6 times 5, would end up attacking for like 21 times 5.
Yeah.
And so the way this board ended up panning out all the time was it would become sort of an unbeatable menace on tier 4 because you can just play only healing cards in the rest of your board to scale up your Youthful Vigor. Styx Knight is a healing card in itself anyway. It'd be like heal, 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 Subdue Dragon, Youthful Vigor for 90. And then even if they manage to block that, then you just cycle back, play out your healing again, and then Youthful Vigor for like, this time it's like 150.
Yeah. I agree this card.
And then even late game, this board is not fun to play against because it's like either you kill them before they hit you for 150, or there's nothing you can really do. You can try
That's
to ice
exactly.
guard it, and then they'll cycle back.
I
It's not
think
like there
on
is no play. There's like not an engaging build.
on
Yeah.
5, on 5 I think it was okay. It's sort of like a turbo version of like the Ming Ming RKP board where they still play Crush
Yeah,
Footwork. And it ends
for
up
sure. Yeah.
being like if you have a lot of defense slash guard up, you can survive the first cycle. You're dead on the second cycle. It basically just feels like an RKP, but a little bit better. Well, a
No, I
decent amount
think the
better.
Ming Ming RPP board isn't fun either.
That's fair. I mean, that's sort
It
of
doesn't
like
really feel like. I think these
This is a
boards that are like you can't really change the order of your cards very much are not very interesting because they end up being like hard quality checks in the same way that like this card reminds me a lot of Unrestrained Sword 2, in fact.
Yeah.
yeah. The other thing about this, I think, is at least the Ming Ming RKP board wasn't regularly healing out of your range before smacking you
Yeah,
with the RKP.
yeah. Like they
Okay. I
didn't
guess we.
consistently have max exercise marrow because you actually had to save your rolls for 5 to find their own killing bombs.
Mhm. Come to think of it, we have time for like at least two more, right? Because I feel like we got, you know, at least one more thing that we can talk about. Something that's
I feel like we
been.
should probably
Like,
touch the sigils at some point, and I think that
okay.
might
Yeah,
take a
I'm
while.
gonna
Don't
give
worry.
a
Let's
shout
let
out to
let's
one
take a
more
break.
Mirage card, and then I think we'll move
Mhm.
on to Sigils.
Yeah. All right.
I want to. I've talked about like my least favorite cards and Youthful Vigor and Fletch. I could talk about Bones, which is my other least favorite card, but I'm not going to. Instead, I'm
Uh-huh.
going to give a quick shout out to my favorite Mirage card of the season, which is M Earth Hexagram.
Oh yeah. What a
And so
fun
what this
card.
one did was, it was like an Earth Hexagram. It was basically the same as Earth Hexagram, except it was on tier 4. It gave a little bit of extra defense at every level.
Yeah.
But the main selling point was that for every 3 hexagrams you had, you would upgrade the next card in your deck, and then you'd also get one free upgrade no matter how many hexagrams you had.
Mhm.
So what this did was that hexagram boards generally like the card you play that generates hexagram doesn't really do anything. Like you'd be fine playing like a flame hexagram on your board forever, which is a card that just says like gain 5 hexagrams and then some flavor text about your opponent losing max HP, which never came up. And this let you play a hexagram card until for the entire game that actually had relevant text in giving your board just like slightly higher quality. Like usually it would be like you get to level 2, it would upgrade 2 cards for free. And that's just like really solid value.
It
Mm,
was a good card. It was pretty enjoyable because it didn't drastically change what you were doing with the board.
yeah. Um.
Yeah. Because like it could fit onto basically any board that wanted to generate hexagrams. And
Yeah.
then it was just like it didn't feel like oppressive or anything. It was just like here's the thing that makes your board stronger in an entirely manageable way.
Yeah. It's like finishing touch, except you don't have to play painter. It's
Yeah.
nice.
And
Finishing
then
touch.
the other thing it did do was it
Yes.
actually kind of did make one new board, which is the Yowling Healer board. Where the idea
Oh.
would be you would play Yin Yang formation along with Thousand Evil Incantation
Oh
and
yeah.
scale up your healing over the course of the fight.
Oh
And Earth
yeah.
Hexagram would the one problem with this board historically would be that you need a lot of quality to make it work because you're spending 6 GS cycles, so you need like 5 levels between like your Yin Yang formation and your Heaven Hexagram. And it's just kind of hard to get consistently. And then you also you want your Great Spirits and your Union Information to be upgraded to get a lot of healing. You want your Thousand Evil Implication to be maxed so that you can permanently weaken your opponent. And Earth Hexagram just said that if the fight goes on for a couple rounds, like 2 or 3 cycles, your entire board will upgrade itself to max level.
Mm-hmm.
And so that basically just made this entire archetype playable. It was a great alternative plan for Yowling, with Formicide usually being a board that doesn't scale very well. Just a straightforward aggro board with not very good defenses. Give you access to this entire backup plan of let's be a healer board now that scales through the fight. And I think that was really good for Yelling. It was really fun to play.
Yeah.
It was just
I've also
so great.
I've also let my friend I also gave my friend that card Go, and okay, so a friend of mine who's not really into Heptastar, yeah, that a card just reignited their love for that card. God, it's so nice. There's so many things you can do with it, as you have said.
Does
And yeah.
does anyone remember, wasn't not Yi Yang, Yin Yang, what's it called? The hexagram card that they play?
Any
Information?
information?
Yeah, yeah. The one you were just talking about. Wasn't that sort of stealth buffed at some point? Just kind of casually, maybe within the last year?
You mean the Mirage version or the original version?
No, I think the original version, or am I mistaken?
I don't think so.
I don't remember any yin yang buffs.
I don't even remember
You
where
might be thinking of M Earthex getting a small buff midway through the season.
Yeah, it was a pretty big buff actually. It went from 1 per every 4 hexagrams to 1 per every 3 hexagrams, so you could actually upgrade 2 cards with just an Earth
It
Hex
did
level
change
boost.
the base values as well, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty significant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to
Anyway,
talk?
I could drone on and on about Earth Hex, but I think we better get to talking about
The
sigils.
sigil.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
Well,
so
it's a
We
good.
have a massive batch of previews that we can get through. Obviously, we're not going to be able to talk about every single sigil because there are over 100 of them,
mm-hmm.
which is worthy of discussion in and of itself. But what do you guys think about the season? First thoughts.
That,
How do you feel?
Okay, so the I don't know. I think I want to talk about how they just rolled out so many of these sigils that you know, I can't remember them all. I mean, that's how most seasons start out, but God, there's so much content here. I think it's way more than goddamn resonance, right? They just gave
Yeah,
us
no, we're getting so much stuff right at the beginning. It's almost like a base game amount of stuff being added on top of the base game.
yes. Oh yeah.
It is a lot. I am a little bit scared. We'll get into all of the things that different sigils do later, but the fact that there's max HP, genuine HP involved, there's side job mixing kind of, there's an entire reroll system and hand management and slot management for sigils, cost management,
It'll definitely be a lot to get used to.
and there's a
Oh,
new mechanic. It's
oh
it's
yeah.
it's a lot of season. It's a lot of
I worry
season.
that especially for new players, obviously the newest new players don't get exposed to the seasonal mechanic until 2K rating. But I
Mhm.
worry
Yeah.
that just you'll jump into the season and it's just gonna be a lot. Imagine you haven't been playing for a couple seasons, you come back and you see all this all at once.
I remember a freak talking about how Relic season was a lot to come back to. This is
Yeah,
a lot more than Relic season.
Yeah.
for
I don't know
sure.
how I don't know how I'm gonna goddamn explain to my friends who don't play the game as much on how this season is gonna work. It's gonna be hard.
well,
I can't
Yeah.
justify getting them into the game right now.
the only maybe
I'm trying to be more
redeeming
optimistic, but I am scared.
Yeah.
the only maybe redeeming factor is that a lot of the like early game sigils don't do that much, right? Like your tier
Right.
ones, your solidify defense, gain an additional 2 defense when adding defense next time. It's like, okay, that one,
Yeah, a lot of them are just like pure stat sticks, which is fine. I like those.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yep.
and I
And I
think
do
that
think one thing that will matter a lot is whether you can see what sigils your opponent was using in the previous round.
Oh yeah. That's a bit of a problem, ain't it? Because we got a lot of things to play around. We got stuff that give you guard up, stuff that anti chases you, a lot of things. Um, I
Actually,
don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can we start there? Can we start with the you get someone else's side job gold sigil?
Yeah, let's talk about those. We have gain 2 guard up as a sigil for 2 sigil slots. We have gain 2 turns of predicament for immortals for I think 2 sigil slots.
Yeah.
We have
And we
draw dragon,
have gain
which
1
is
stack of finishing touch or 1 stack of envelop and disaster penguin or 1 sigil slot apiece.
Oh, and how could we forget Penguin, aka a disaster, when the opponent plays a card that can be downgraded next time, downgraded. Yeah, that one
Yeah.
is pretty funny too, ain't it?
yep.
And I believe the way that works is if you put it on a turn where they don't have a downgradable card, it does carry over to the next time they would play one.
Yeah, I think so too.
Which
Otherwise, it
is
wouldn't make
pretty
sense.
interesting in terms of how it interacts versus how normal penguin
Yeah.
interacts.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So what do we think about these?
Um. Okay, I think we should talk about I don't know, this one sigil that has been looming over our goddamn minds for a while. The one that is right next to disaster. Bear. It it
Yes,
it
let's talk about Bear.
yes. It consumes 2 sigil notches. That means so okay, you have 3 sigil slots, but there are some sigils that take up a certain amount of slots. So Bear, it
Yeah,
takes
they'll
up
pick
2.
up
That
1,
means
2,
you
or
can
3.
yes. Yeah. Passive effect. You can add 1 more continuous or consumption card to your deck. Now I can't say whether it's good or not, but God, it's interesting. There's so many things we can do.
It's
Most
certainly a
notably,
very funny
Mhm.
and a very unique design space that we really have never seen before.
Yes, it's unprecedented.
yeah,
I think
do you guys remember the back in Life Shop when
Oh,
you went there was like the True Exodia build where you would get finishing touch to upgrade your
Yeah, I
bamboo
picture yeah.
to get
I
another
remember that.
continuous card. So like this is
Yeah.
that like without having to jump through hoops.
Yeah.
Well, it's not quite that, because you needed to play 4 continuous cards for true perma stun, and this doesn't let you do that.
Right. But it's approaching it at a much cheaper cost. It also gives you, at least as currently printed, 16 max HP for the
Yeah, I was hoping one of you would play that, because 16 is a lot of free HP to gain at the start of a fight. Like,
Yeah.
that alone is a really good sigil, just like plus 16 health.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think.
I think
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
bear is also something when it was first previewed, a lot of people immediately saw the potential for permastun Exodia work with it, and I think it goes in a collection of sigils that I can only classify for myself as Jiang Ximing permastun support sigils,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think
which there
Jiang
are
Qiming
multiple.
is going to be the best character in the game, for at least a little bit. That,
Uh-huh.
like, I could be wrong about this, but that is my prediction, that Jiang Qiming is going to be absurdly powerful at the start of the season.
Yeah. I feel like the devs do play their own game. Like I swear to you, I think the devs like playing Jiang Ximing I don't know. When I first reacted to Bear in the the Xian Discord, by the way, please do join. Creo, the server owner, reacted with a Jiang Ximing emote, which I don't know, somehow think, yeah, the devs play like to play Jiang Ximing. I think they know what they're doing. But if you know what they're doing, please, for the love of God, reconsider what you are doing. You don't know
I mean, I
what you're.
think Bear will be fine on Jiangxi Ming. It's definitely
Yeah,
not the one that I'm most worried about.
yeah, of course.
There's
But while we're
quite
talking
a
about
few.
Jiangxi Ming sigils, I want to talk about one that I think people might be overlooking a little bit, but that I think will be very strong on a lot of people, but especially Jiangxi Ming, which
Uh-huh.
is Transform Star Spirit from the first batch,
Oh,
which says it's a passive effect. If you don't have enough chi to play a card, you can spend 1 star power to gain 2 chi.
oh God,
And it just doesn't cost your turn. Like you're not gonna like spend a turn charging up chi.
I
It just like it
forgot
happens
about
automatically
that.
as far as I can tell.
Yeah, that is actually pretty strong, and I have not paid enough attention to that.
Yeah, it's still an
So
assuming, right?
what I think is powerful about this card is one, it just lets you generate a lot of chi with like a level 1 Starry Moon is 2 star power and then potentially 2 chi from generating 2 star points, which is essentially 6 chi worth of resources you can spend. Like you can play 3 Great Spirits with that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that this is, as far as I'm aware, the only way in the entire game to spend star power. Other than, I think, Starburst and Meteorite Meteor are the other two.
Yes.
But neither of those are particularly common, and definitely not going to you're going to see those on your endgame boards very often.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And this is relevant because on Jiangxi Ming, you have your Tier 2 passive Astrology, which says every time you gain Hexagram, if you have no star power, gain 1 star power. And
Oh
normally you
yeah.
can only trigger this once per fight. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
consistently spending your star power to generate chi, you could have this be essentially like whenever you gain hexagram, gain 2 chi, like a stronger version of Feng, like a reverse stronger version of Feng Shu's tier 3 on tier 2 and doubled and +1 cult.
And it doesn't preclude you from playing bear because it's only 2 sigil. It's only 1 sigil cost.
Yeah, you could also play it with Bear, you could play it with like Ice Guard, you could play
If
it
you
with
were playing it, I would
Polaris.
expect it to be played with like the Chasing Polaris, the Triple
Well,
Side, some
Chasing
of
Polaris
the
is
some
3
of the star
slots.
power support sigils.
Yeah.
Chasing
Oh
Polaris
yeah.
is 3 slots, so you can't play those
Oh
together.
yeah, no, my bad. Yeah.
True. It's
Is
still pretty. Yeah.
how many
It's still
slots is the triple side?
That's also 3 slots. I was hoping to play it
It's
with Catch Cicada, but that's also 3 slots. So
But yeah.
Catch Cicada is a weird 3 slot. That is a very weird 3 slot.
Uh-huh.
let's talk about Catch Cicada. This is an interesting one.
Hunter
So
becomes
your
prayer
post-action
soon.
cards heal you for 2, and then also when you play specifically Hunter Becomes Prayer, you get like a lifesteal effect. So for every point of damage it deals, you will heal 1 and gain 1 max HP.
Uh-huh.
I think this
Oh
one's
yeah.
really strong. What do you guys think?
I think it's at best it's I don't know. At best it's gonna turn the tides. At worst it's just, tempo, free stats.
It is
I
on
Yeah,
tier
think
3, which is an important note.
yeah, exactly.
I think if
I
we
can
ever
see
end up seeing go ahead, bud.
Musa abusing the hell of this.
Yep. I think anything that likes blue cards and post action. So what's Jiang
Yeah.
Shiming Fortune Teller, if we have to see that horror again, will really like
And it's
Catch
worth
Cicada.
noting that like this, like you might see this in like when you play Hunter Becomes Prayer. Okay, that deals 11 damage at level 1. You'll heal 11. But this scales off of star power. This scaled off of the bonus attack from Hunter Hunting Hunter. This can potentially be like healing you for like 40 every time you play Hunter Becomes Prayer.
Yeah.
And
All right.
like we've definitely seen like we saw Fletch this season as a board that plays Hunter Becomes Prayer every single turn while scaling star power. And while I don't know if we'll have a board with that tight of a cycle anymore, we'll
Yep.
certain like I can imagine a Jiangximing board that plays Hunter Hunting Hunter with star power and catch cicada.
Mhm.
And let's talk about
It's
the
not
other
that unbelievable.
In
I've
this,
already
let's move
seen Hunter Hunting
next
Hunter
because
Fulu junkiming be a thing in past seasons.
yeah. Full
In
Junction.
in similar post-action note, I think trump card from that same batch is also pretty interesting for Tianji.
Yes.
It's interesting for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, the most obvious effect is you put your level 1 only traces in slot 8, it chases.
Which they
And it's
do
already something like you're
anyway.
doing on the usual Hunter Hunting Hunter board.
Yeah.
And it is penguin proof.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
this
The
is
thing
Finally.
also worth noting is that you can do the same thing on any character, but just putting a Dragmoon there.
Yeah.
Instead
This
of
also
Hunter Hunting
Dragmoon's
means
Hunter,
very
Dragmoon, Echo, Echo.
this also means Wusa doesn't need to take divination on 2 anymore. She can just do whatever. No
Yeah,
need
I
for
mean,
that one.
Wuta can skip divination if they want, though it doesn't mean they can't play the Dragmoon in slot 1 like they usually want to.
Yeah. But still.
but HHH slot 1 is also not that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have any.
I guess while we're talking about everything from this batch, let's talk about the funny card, Co-Threat Extension. Triple
Oh
side.
yeah.
Yeah, so this card
I mean,
shows that the devs are pretty reasonable Go players or know enough about Go to continuing the theme of all the astral moves having to do with the game of Go. It's gonna let us play triple side and uh,
Oh,
sort of triple co
Well,
is a real thing too. So I like thematically it's cool. Now
wait. It stacks
for those of
with
you to read
twice.
the actual effect of the sigil for a second, it says the next card you play on a star point will take an effect an additional time. And the way it's worded, it seems very likely this will be able to stack with Strike Twice. So you can have a card take effect 3 times. And naturally, the most obvious contender for this is Astral Move Side.
I never thought about
and
that wording. Yeah. Oh
yeah,
god.
because it doesn't seem like it's going to be the strike twice buff. It specifically says 1 extra time. And
Yeah,
there is one important thing that we have to say about Astro Move side.
yeah. So as a wise man once said,
I love this game, but thanks to a certain card that makes your opponent skip their next card makes me lose interest in it. Imagine spending 20 minutes creating a perfect build just to lose because of a single card. For example, you've created a Dharma Sword build just for your opponent to make you skip your Dharma Sword card, then you just lose.
yes, exactly.
God. It never gets old, man. I swear.
The Astral Move
You
Side
know,
copy pasta, for those of you who aren't aware.
it never gets old. Yeah.
It never gets old. And I think that is the primary use of Code Thread Extension. Obviously, you can use it for like triple hit or something, but why would you when you could triple side?
Whoever is the source of that site copy pasta, I hope they rest in peace and never had to see this sigil.
I
I
mean, you could also triple Great Spirit for what it's worth. That seems very reasonable.
Oh wow. That is true. Or just double Great Spirit if you're not strike twising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
yeah
double side
that's
without the strike twice, like on the Tianji board, for instance.
Yes, that's true.
yeah
Or
this
Oh
double
yeah,
is
that's true.
this is what I was also
This
thinking.
does
Like
have
you
Yeah.
the card that you play on the star point doesn't have to be a
an
synergy with the
Astro
star
Move.
point, right? So like you said,
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It specifically doesn't say Astro Move, which is pretty
Yes.
big.
A star point is a star point. That's all we care, baby.
I think it's basically all the Heptastar things. There's some other like notable ones for like the early game, but I think those are the main ones that we can talk about.
Yeah.
Let's
Um,
move on to if you guys are okay moving on, I think let's talk about Sword Sec next.
Yes.
if I can drop in just a couple of sentences to mention that Heptastar does have a decent amount of internal injury support, it looks like,
Yeah, that's
Uh-huh.
worth
as
noting.
their other
Within
main
reach
thing.
scans might be vindicated.
Yep.
Yeah.
And with that, Sword Sect.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. Moon and Water. I remember y'all. I don't know. talking about this a lot, right?
Yes, there are a lot of sword formation sigils, and all of them are terrifying.
Yes.
But especially Moon and Water. This just says no need to play your Moon Water.
Yeah, I'm not
You-
even sure this is the scariest one, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, this is just a sword formation guard before it was nerfed. But it's not a
you
fate,
naive.
it's
Yeah,
just a
it's two
card.
sword formation
Or not,
guards.
it's a sigil, so it's not even a card. You don't even have to put it on your board.
Uh-huh.
So
Now
notably,
you
it
don't
doesn't
need
work with recurring. You can't trigger it multiple times.
it's fine, it's fine. It's still moon water, you know. Moon water is moon water. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a reason why Supermission Guard is good, right? And the fact that oh, you
Yeah.
don't have to take that anymore. Oh God.
Anyone who's seen the
It
peak
is.
sword formation guard builds know that this is not something that we want to see return.
It was nerfed
From
for a
that
reason.
from that same batch, Swing Sword Split Heaven
Oh,
looks very much like a Sword Intent. And maybe especially
Yeah,
Smith.
give your sword intent card an extra attack that deals 20.
yeah. Specifically 20.
My take is that this one is just bad.
Yeah.
It feels like it's meant it's a blacksmith sigil, except that
It definitely feels
Yeah.
like
It
it
feels
is
crazy to me to say that like deal 20 damage and gain 10 health is a bad sigil. But
yeah.
like you compare it to like right next to it on our sheet is Coast Guard Extension, which like is also a gold sigil that costs 3 slots and has plus 10 HP. And instead of
Yeah.
doing an extra 20 attack, you trigger a card an extra time. And, like level
Yep.
2 side is 22 damage. That's already better.
Mm-hmm.
and it like has text on it, notably.
Yeah, you also get to skip another card. Like
Yeah.
this sigil just seems bad to me.
Yeah, because,
Like I'm
like,
sure
Yeah.
I will play it because like you can't always get the best sigil, but like I feel like for a gold sigil, this is pretty underwhelming.
yeah,
It's
because
very
Yeah.
bland.
who wants it? Because if you're playing sword intent, you'd rather have, like, the fact that it does 20 damage is not really what you're interested in.
Yeah,
You'd rather have two attacks that do like 5 damage or something, right?
yeah.
There are yeah. There are
I do think it's
sigils that can
significant
do better
though.
things cheap.
I do think it's significant though that gain 10 health, deal 20 damage is weak, saying a lot about how strong this season is going to be.
Yeah.
The power level is a little bit insane.
Yeah, like you can expect the average power level of people's tier 5 sigils to be more than 30 stats.
Well, you've got to think about the fact that basically with our sigils, we're getting to play like 3 extra cards for free
For
in our
free.
first 3 turns without paying for them, you know?
Yeah.
Speaking of things that are
I
more than
would
30 stats, can we talk about the other sword formation sigil, Control Sword to Formation from Match 3?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So each time you gain passive effect, each time you gain defense, gain an additional 2 defense and deal 2 damage to the opponent up to 15 times per battle. I think I want to focus on that up to 15 times. With the idea presumably being that it's hard, I guess it's supposed to be hard to get all the way to 15. It's not. We lobbed out the Mui Feng like Defy Sword Formation board. That can easily trigger this like 10, maybe even the full 15 times in the first 3 turns.
which
Uh-huh.
is mildly horrifying on many levels.
So like, let's talk about how much damage it is. If you trigger it 15 times, you're getting 30 damage. You're
Yes.
getting 30 defense. You're also
Mhm.
triggering Defy off of that 30 defense, which is going to
Oh.
be like an extra like 10, 15, 20 damage. You add it all up, and this thing is essentially an extra 70 or 80 stats.
Yeah. Pretty messed up. And I think you deal like
This is
what?
on a board that's already extremely strong.
I think you deal like 80-ish in total within like the first couple of turns or something.
Yeah. Now, obviously,
Y'all
like it's going to be hard
yeah.
to still turn 3 kill because everyone else is going to have a bunch of extra health too.
Yeah, but still. That's still
It's a
a
But
lot of
lot.
80
stats.
stats is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And notably, the 2 damage is also meaning that like obviously like this is
mhm.
already true about Defy, but you don't care about guard up at all.
Yup.
You just deal
God.
so many instances of damage. Like guard up, no. Combine world, no. Like you're just shredding through anything that cares about instances of damage.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
are the
yeah.
Understream podcast, and
Uh-huh.
while this is
Yeah, we gotta
mostly
talk about
well, this is
Spirit and
largely
Frenzy.
due to our inability to save our best points of conversation for the podcast. I do
Yeah.
kind of want to talk about a couple of these unrestrained cards.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Specifically, the synergy between Spirit and Frenzy, and 100 Birds.
They're
Oh,
conveniently
yeah.
placed right next to each other.
Exactly. I feel like that's going to be very, very interesting on Yanshui Unrestrained.
Yeah, we have a
So all
con.
your spirit swords count as unrestrained, is what Spirit and Frenzy does. And then also every time you play an unrestrained, which includes spirit swords now, gain 1 chi.
And
It's
100 Birds says that, well, it's basically just sent a bird without the extra chi. Passive effect, reduce the chi cost of Spirit
Sure, yeah.
Sword cards by 1.
finally no centipede.
And so this just kind of says play a bunch of free rocks into your unrestrained swords, or if you manage a bit more chi, play some kuns.
Well, actually, I think you can play Quan every turn if you want, because the Quan costs 2, and then it generates the chi, and then if you play an unrestrained sword after it, that also generates the chi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is true. But you
You go
do need
like
like one
Quan
chi to start
unrestrained
off
2,
with
Quan
there.
unrestrained 2, Quan unrestrained 2, and that
But if you,
bases it.
I mean, if you did something like playing what's it, Flame Dance, you're just set. You're just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
has one chase card for free, Yanshu. One chase card,
Yep.
one chase of our string sword card for free.
This is
Hell yeah.
Worth noting
So
that also if you're playing Li Yun, now you can gain 1 chi whenever you play any comprehended card.
Oh.
yeah. I was gonna make this
And if
joke as a LCY player. I was gonna make the joke that we could already do that. It's called Chainsword Kun, but
yeah.
obviously,
But
you,
also
yeah.
like 100 birds reducing the chi cost means that like if you comprehended Rule Sky, you can play that for free on turn 1.
Finally, they have robbed LCY's identity. As for LCY, she can be even more LCY.
You can play Ping Ping
Praise.
Control without needing to play Detect Chi.
I think a lot of seasonal mechanics relating to Unrestrained these days kind of look like approach some of LCY's habits because
Yeah.
that is just what the character looks like.
I
yes.
mean, Light Sword was a really good design in my opinion. I think Spirit and Frenzy I don't like quite as much, but we'll see how it ends up panning out.
Yeah.
It reminds me a little bit of Ying Resonance on
Yeah.
LCY.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
like twice as good, right?
Yes, yes, for sure.
It's easier to play somehow.
The the other Unrestrained that kind of stands out, although not nearly as much and more for amusement than anything, is the one we saw recently that says every time you play 0, get 20 max HP and a stack of attack up. Are we trying to make Formation Master Unrestrained real again? And will it work?
Oh, restrain this one's.
People will try it, it will not work.
Yep,
Uh-huh.
yep. That is how I feel on the matter.
Which
Oh,
batch was that in? I missed this one.
It's not on the document. I think it was leaked actually.
It
yeah,
was
you
one of
can.
the recent leaks, yep.
Yeah, I think it was also reviewed alongside the real stream or something.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I don't think
Yeah.
you have to worry about it because I don't think it will remain relevant for long.
Yeah, it's just oh, you can play 0. As if you haven't
Yeah.
played 0 before.
Yeah.
Alright.
Oh, oh
Anything
yeah.
I think
else we want to
there's
talk
one
about with
more
Source?
sword sector I want to talk about,
Uh-huh.
and it requires a little bit of explanation first, which is mechanism sword split.
Oh yeah.
All right, so
Ooh,
to
are
explain
we
that, let's get into the other new mechanic of the season, which is mechanism runes.
Okay, what does it
because we
do?
needed more new mechanics.
New keyword mechanism rune. Each according to the Steam news, as they have said verbatim, each time HP is lost due to an opponent's attack, one mechanism rune is consumed, offsetting 2 points of HP loss, with a minimum of 1 HP loss. Some effect can be only triggered by consuming the season, the mechanic, the keyword or whatever. mechanism
So
room.
basically, they're a resource you want to build up, but then also every time you take damage, you lose your resource to offset some of that damage, which is like, on the one hand, yay, you can spend them for 2 health apiece. On the other hand, you have to. So every time you have a sigil that says spend mechanism runes to do this, you have to keep in
Yeah.
mind that if your opponent is dealing damage to you, you're losing your mechanism runes after you're generating them.
Yeah. Like the fact that it cares about whether your HP is lost or not, I mean, it kind of sucks a little bit, right? That means even stuff like even the tiny, teeny, small instance of HP loss, like one internal injury, might just screw your game plan up. So
Yeah, you
yeah,
definitely need to be careful about if you're playing sigils that really need you to have a lot of runes, being careful to
yeah.
like if your opponent is playing, especially like a deck with a lot of multi-hits in it, that you're
Mhm.
probably not going to be able to keep all your runes unless you have a lot of defense to keep your HP
Yeah.
not changing.
It's
Thankfully,
a
we do have.
very
Mhm.
tricky resource to manage, I think.
We do have some sigils that like allow you to generate mechanism rune though, especially
Yes.
mechanism
And in
engines.
particular, the one I want to talk about is actually a lowly tier 2 sigil, which is
Uh-huh.
Mechanism Sword Split. So what that
Oh
says
yeah.
is you gain 2 mechanism runes, and
Mm-hmm.
then in your next attack you will consume one of them to gain 3 more attack, but then also that attack will ignore defense.
Oh god, yeah.
So this is essentially extra access to ignore defense in the early game. You don't just need cheaper fusion or I guess Cloud Elixir anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Which is notable for a lot of reasons. There are many reasons why you'd want ignore defense. You could totally carry this one to the entirety of the game. Cheaper fusion is already a card you would carry to tier 5 a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But this is particularly relevant for Illusion Tune. We've
Yeah.
seen like Wangyou's Coral Sword being used to essentially enable entire strategies early game where you play Illusion Tune. Your opponent's generating defense every turn that they can't use. You're generating defense every turn and actually getting value out of it. And this essentially like lets everyone have half of a Coral Sword,
Mm-hmm.
So
which I don't think it'll be consistent enough that you can like pick musician just for this because like you won't see the sigil every game probably.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly if you're already playing like a musician Dharma kind of strategy, or maybe you're long out with Coral Sword and this gives you an extra stack of Coral Sword on top of that. This can be very good and also something that you might want for the entire game.
can we break down briefly how this card would work? So the sigils you can only place on the first three on your first 3
Yes.
cards, right? So it would be
Yeah.
limited to your
Perfectly
first 3 cards, and then the text on the card says Mechanism Rune +2. Consume 1 Mechanism Rune in the next attack. So does that mean it
Yeah.
would trigger if you played it on a turn that you're attacking? It would gain 2 Mechanism Runes and then trigger on that turn?
Yeah, so how it would work is at the start of the turn you would gain 2 mechanism runes, and then you would play your card. And if that card happened to be an attack, then you would immediately trigger it, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, you don't
I
have to
You don't need
am
to
worry
worry
about the
about
chipping
losing
off of
if
the
your
Mechanism
attack is in
Runes
the
and
first
so
2
forth.
cards.
Well, there is something to be said for the fact that illusion chips your HP at start of turn, and so
Yeah.
order of resolutions will matter on that,
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
though it is 2 runes and you only
and
need to
not one.
spend one of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
It would only be a problem if like you're also affected by like internal injury.
Mm-hmm.
Internal
I
injury isn't. No, it is. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you do lose HP. So
No,
yeah.
I
You lose
was
any
thinking
injury
about
buffer.
what part of turn it resolves on, and yeah, it is
Yeah.
start of turn.
Ah, okay. Either
Anyway, I
way.
think all the sword effect things. There are a couple
Mhm.
more. There are the cloud sword ones that we could cover, but we should move on because this is getting long.
Yeah,
Incredibly
we got
long. While
yeah, we
we're at mechanism runes, you want to touch on a couple more before we leave mechanisms behind?
Yeah,
uh,
let's go to 5 elements and talk about the 5 elements mechanism runes ones.
yeah, man. Let's do it.
Are
Okay,
we
so
all
Cosmo
right?
mechanism. Mechanism
All of
was
these
one
are worth
basic
talking about, I
one.
think.
All these are sure interesting.
We can
Me
skip
and
crocodiles. I
before
think
the
it's
podcast,
all worthwhile.
me and my friends talk about deer. Consume two when you play Millsford card game 3 penetrate, and then consume two to when playing wood cards to gain 1 increased attack. I'm a bit more worried about the penetrate one because it's got 3 pennies.
Really?
Quite a fair bit. It's quite a fair
It
bit,
does
especially on
say, I don't know. It does kind of say 5 elements anima for those two
Yeah.
elements.
Mm-hmm. And then
3
we got
penetrate is like 6 damage,
Yeah.
maybe 9 with vigorous, where 1 increased attack can be a lot of damage if you're playing like Forest Guard, Thorn, Cirque, Prairie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That
The
can
thing
easily
is,
end up being like 10-15 damage in a fight.
it
Yeah.
doesn't stop you from doing both if you have the runes for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or you can trigger them multiple times in a fight, I believe. You can get multiple increased attack or multiple stacked 3 penetrate, right?
Yeah, because it is a passive effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Passive is passive.
It's just like don't run out of runes, because it'll only give 3 by itself.
Yeah.
Which,
It's
but
also
it is
only
only
one slot. You could run a lot of rune generators.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically, Cosmos Mechanism gain an extra rune for each type of 5 elements in the deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
Those
play
two
that
could
one. You
look
can play
pretty good
the
on
Spirit
Smash,
Rune, which
actually.
is a generic one that gains 6 runes if you spend 1 G.
Yeah.
I think Cosmos Mechanism and Mechanism Deer could be interesting on World Smash for the penetrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No matter how good or bad, I'm more than willing to experiment these.
Yep.
I'm more than willing to.
Yeah. No, I could
Can
totally see
we-
a World Smash board where you play actually all 3 of the 5 elements ones. Where
Mhm.
you play Cosmic Mechanism to generate a bunch of runes. You play Deer to generate penetrate and increase attack. And then you also play Spirit Seal to activate like a Forest Guard on turn 3.
Wait, what does the 5 elements sigil that gives you an extra element look like again?
Oh, that is
I forgot.
where is it?
How many slots is that one?
It was in one of the earlier batches. Let me see if I can find it.
What patch is that again?
I think it was the second batch. It is one. It is one.
Yeah,
It is
one
one slot.
one slot.
It's
You
one
play that one
slot.
too.
You can play that one along with the one that gives you runes per element, and then with Deer, that could be pretty interesting.
Cosmos, and this.
Glen Cosmos is the name, right?
It's not a rune one. It's just your World Smash has an additional element.
Yeah.
It says it gives you another element on the element counter, which does work with the Cosmos Mechanism sigil.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I
a good
see.
point.
That's
think
kind of
so.
what I was talking about there.
Now,
I
you're
think
probably not going to be
those
spending
three
all
could
of
go
the runes
pretty
you
well in
generate,
the world.
but you can use the rest of them to offset damage.
Mm-hmm.
And all right, I want to touch real quick on the DX mechanisms, if that's okay, before we
Yeah.
try to go back to normal sect stuff.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Training mechanism. Hello, free physique.
Yeah, this one seems crazy.
Physique too.
That's all
Okay,
there is to
physique,
say about it. Hello,
It
free
also gives you
physique.
1 mechanism rune, but 2 physique for 1 sigil slot every fight seems absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
That is pretty wild.
Very not too bad, yeah.
Never struggle for physique again. The other interesting one to me is Mechanism Lion, which is the what's it called? The blue one. Majestic Force? Basically Majestic Force.
Yeah, it's like Majestic Chain.
Majestic Chi
Yeah.
or something?
Majestic Chi, yes. Can you tell
Yeah.
I don't play the X?
Majestic Chi and Mighty Force, those two cards the 2 cards that you will see go hand in hand in every goddamn
Yep.
T3 dungeon board.
And
Yep.
obviously, like, this one's also crazy on Lee Man, where the force you gain is also giving you agility.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's funny because the gold DX mechanism is just kind of about getting Lehman agility. Consume 2 mechanism, gain 2 agility. Why would you do that when
Yeah,
you could
except
play
it
Lion
costs
and
twice
be
as much and it
Lehman
gives
and do
you
both?
part rather than other
Mhm.
condition.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Speaking of agility, we also have mechanism leopard, which is a
Yeah,
tier
that's
Yeah, so we were just talking about that one.
the one we just
Oh.
mentioned.
Oh god dang, I forgot. I'm dumb.
All good, all good. Do we want to go to 5 elements major
So we're on
sigils?
to one. Let's finish up with that, and we can go back to 5 elements in a bit.
Oh yeah,
That's fair.
let's
While we're on the
touch
topic
on
of agility, though, we also have Blood Shadow Escape.
Oh,
from the second batch, which is the next time you play an HP cost card, for every 1 HP cost, you will gain 1 agility.
oh
Holy
yeah.
shit.
That one I'm a little bit afraid, not gonna lie.
That's a
Actually,
lot of agility if you put it on shocked.
Yeah, so you put it on max. So the 3 things I'm thinking of, you put it on max Sticks agility, that is 5. You put it on
uh-huh.
Blink, that's 7. Or I think the highest HP cost is you can put it on Shocked for 8 agility.
Yeah.
Not an insignificant amount of agility.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
that card really is just it's just blink.
Yeah.
It's just
So the
blink. Go
main
for it.
downside I see of this is it only works once. So if your deck is
Yeah.
trying to go for multiple cycles, you could
Yeah.
run into some trouble there.
How many Crash Fist decks are planning to go for multiple cycles?
This is a
Believe
fair
it's
point.
the
I mean, I was thinking something like Ming Ming RKP.
Yeah.
wait the wait though.
But yeah,
Uh,
if you're playing Crash Fist, this is just like +7, +8 agility,
Yeah.
which like maybe these boards don't need Vast Universe anymore.
Mhm.
Abyss. Any DX sigils you want to point out?
Oh, we have a fair amount of stuff to mention, like imitate heaven and earth. What y'all think?
Ah,
It
yes.
that one, God, where do I begin? It someone has brought up something interesting. Is that the fact that it's a tier 5 makes it a little bit underwhelming because I mean, okay, you get there, how you train physique, okay, cool, then what?
I'll probably explain what it does. So this one says a passive effect when your physique exceeds the cap, you gain 2
Mhm.
increase attack, and also your physique cap permanently increases by 3. So not just for the fight.
And so
At least,
that looks like Tuque.
yeah, it
Yep.
is definitely one. It definitely has a merit of its own though, because God, it makes it that Tukey gets to his ideal physique breakpoint, which is 100-ish, yeah,
Yeah.
notably faster. And we all know what Tukey can do when he reaches 100 physique. Run away.
Run away screaming. No longer will it be only on round 20 or 19. It will come for you.
Yes.
On the other hand, this takes up 3 sigil slots. You're committing to this
Yeah.
being the only thing you're doing, and that might it is 12 HP and 2 increase attack, but that
I
might
mean,
end up leaving
Tuque
you
is
like
kind of
weaker in the turns you're playing it.
Tuque is also kind of always committing
Yeah, he's
to
always doing
super
that.
strong RKP being the thing he's doing. I think it
Yeah.
is very strong on that character specifically.
I think the other
In
point though is
general,
you actually have to find this. Like it's not like you will get this immediately on tier
yes.
5. You actually have to look for it. And like if you
Mhm.
just find this on like round 15,
You're a
then
bit
what?
sad.
Well, there's also
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
generic, obviously lure enemy needs to be talked about, right? When you gain a
Oh
debuff
yeah.
next time, apply 2 stacks of flaw on the opponent. So uh
Yes.
this is Yan Chan's thing, but it's not but it's not a card, and I'm talking about Fury Thunder.
Well, I
um
think this is a Duan Chuan exclusive actually.
no, yeah, I mean, but it's his ability stolen.
Oh yeah.
Almost
Yeah.
as if Yanshan doesn't have a single niche that someone else can't do better.
Once
so
again,
This one
Gakuen
is
lost his
interesting
identity.
because Duan Chuan is a sect that benefits the least from flaw because of how it interacts with stuff like force and soul cleaving, which is essentially force.
Yeah, yeah.
On the other
On the
hand,
other hand, this one's tier 2.
Lure Enemy is a P2.
Yeah. God, that's
So
so
you can play it
stupid.
with like Double Trouble and Tiger Pouncing in the mid game.
Yes.
here comes Zhao Blue again.
And that, like this is like the Shaw Blue style of board, which is probably now going to be like a consistent turn 3, turn 4 kill in the mid game.
I know I have like I've been doom saying about Lou Ermi to my friends and people that I've come across, but God, I can't imagine how it feels to fight Xiao Blue for the next couple of days.
Yeah.
God, this is gonna
And we
be
talked about a
hell.
training mechanism too, which just
Yeah.
gives them the free physique they need to fuel their tier 3 without having to play like bearing the load on their board anymore.
Yeah. At least it sure
Lovely.
makes some of those things easier.
And those are both only one sigil slot, so you can play both of those things, still have another slot left for like the gain force sigil.
Yep.
Now,
None of
obviously, like
this.
actually finding all these sigils is gonna be hard.
Either way, I'm gonna keep an eye out on lure enemy. Maybe probably play some shop blue and steal some more points and gamer tiers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I love you all gamers, but lure enemy's
All
not
right.
okay. Okay,
I
what do
think
we
there's
got?
one more Duan sigil worth pointing out, which is Scarlet Blood Rage.
Oh yeah, that one.
So this one, it's a 3 sigil slot gold one, which gives you 12 HP, and it says every time you play an HP cost card, deal damage equal to the HP cost to your opponent.
Oh
So this is like you're playing Crash to the Dharma Crash Fest. This is like 30 damage per cycle.
yeah.
And
And
we were
if
talking about them making an additional 20 attack sigil. Like this is more HP and this is also more damage than that. It's just better in every way.
Yeah. I
at
I
20
I
attacks,
think
you
it's
feel pretty terrible.
yeah.
This is like the
Doing yeah,
cracking fist
get 20 damage
resonance.
once versus 30 damage every cycle.
It's like the cracking fist resonance, except true damage each time instead of only the first time, but without the
And
free
notably,
cards.
it goes before the actual effect of the card, meaning it pops guard up, which is one of the main weaknesses of Crash Fist too.
Yep.
True.
Uh, and damage and free damage itself, it's pretty good on its own. It's good the same reason why Penguin it's good, right?
Yeah, it's just like a bunch of free damage. Well, we say free, it is 3 sigil slots. You can't play any
Yes.
other sigil with this.
No,
Yeah.
but you start to wonder if you really want to be playing many other sigils. And a lot of the time, I think the answer on a pure crash board is going to be, probably not.
Do you think this
Well,
brings
I
you
mean, you might want to play
to
like the upgrade one. You might want guard up.
Uh-huh.
do you think this
What were you
brings you
saying, Abyss?
to the 3-turn kill on Crash Fist much easier? I mean, it's gonna be hard to figure out just how much extra
Yes.
HP is floating around with all the
Yeah.
weird
Yeah.
sigils, but
Mhm.
that's a
I
huge
believe
break
the
point.
3-turn kill board, because you play like level 2 Sticks Agility, level 2 Blink, and then Shocked Continue Inch Force. That's like 29 damage from Scarlet Blood range on the turn 3 kill.
And I'm assuming we're throwing Crash Cheetah somewhere in there.
Yeah, like Sticks Agility, Crash Cheetah, Blink, Shocked Continue Inch Force is usually the board.
Sticks before
Mhm.
Crash.
Yeah, just because you have to put it somewhere.
Yeah.
You can't play Crash turn 1 without chasing.
Mhm. Yeah. That's fair. Definitely a good or a very strong sigil for its board.
You could
Now we
easily
just
send that to
have,
a turn 4 kill, move the Sticks after Crash, play a Gather Intense Force. You're still dealing 29.
Yeah.
yeah. Now we have 5 elements to worry about, I think.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
let's move to 5 elements. Move
Lava.
back to 5 elements, I guess.
Lava.
We did touch on Blend Cosmos, which is just an additional 5 elements counted in your deck for one sigil slot.
Yeah.
Red, you're our 5 elements main here. What do you think is, besides what we've already talked about, what are you most interested in?
I am very interested in Water Blade. So what Water Blade does is that a passive effect.
Yeah.
At the end of your turn, the damage caused by force of water is changed to a single attack, and the HP reduced when injured. When you injure the opponent, is increased by 50%. So
This is a
the
spicy
thing,
one.
yes, it's spicy. I'm not gonna say it's good or bad, but it sure is interesting. One thing you should pay attention is that the damage is now the it's now attack. That means you can probably weaken this, but
Yes.
then you have the last clause here. The HP reduced when injured, blah blah blah, is increased by 50%. Now that is a
Yeah.
pretty cool one. We
It's
have
really
been,
big buns.
discussing about what we can do. Personally, I thought we can play the wood waterboard that Chinri could play. For a
Yeah.
while, it has always been her backup plan, but maybe this could be a main no, an actual competitive board. But by the way, what that board, how the board works is that you play DWF into water formation, and then you just play a bunch of chase cards, specifically wood chase cards along with other water cards.
Yeah.
Stuff like
You just generate water with what is the chances?
go into any water card, and then force card into any water card, and blah blah into any water card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also worth noting that you mentioned that like it being changed to an attack can be a downside if you get weakened, but it also means you can benefit from increased attack from Fragrant and Law from Thousand Eagle Incantation. They're both
Yeah.
cards that like Chinri wanted to be playing anyway.
Yeah, definitely. It's all natural, she gets to do what comes natural. It's great. No.
Yeah, like you could totally play like combine rivers into Thousand Evil Incantation and get the flaw bonus on your Course of Water.
Oh yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
already a standard line, and now like you're getting a ton of extra damage because now your water is increasing by 90% instead of just 50.
Oh yeah, my friend. I've also thought about that as well. But obviously you were the first one who came up with that first though, yeah.
All
Yeah.
all natural,
And
no
then
preservatives. Chinray.
yeah.
While we're on that batch, I think this batch had a couple interesting things. I want to talk about lava.
Yes. Take it.
So lava is a passive effect. It's only one sigil slot, notably. And it's that every time you play a Fire Spirit card, reduce your defense by up to 20, and then reduce your opponent's HP and max HP by the same amount.
Yeah.
So 20 is a big number.
Mhm.
Notably, if you can play like a Cirque Combined Worlds kind of board, like with a Fire Earth UWF, which is something we've seen out of Drunk in very long ago past seasons, you
Yeah.
can probably keep like 24 defense from your two Combined Worlds. And then every time you lose that defense, you'll get it back for several stacks. And so then if you play a bunch of fire cards after that, each one will have an additional 20 damage stapled to it.
Yep.
And 20 damage is a lot, and it's true damage too. Like, this can't be blocked, because it reduces their max HP. Like, technically for Dewan Chuan, you can block the 20 damage and then still lose 20 max HP, but it's a big deal. It
And
also means if you can somehow, like, chase a cliff into this, you can reduce all 20 of the cliff defense, reduce your opponent's HP to 20, and then also deal 20 from cliff.
Oh yeah, we also have the Cliff Sigil, which oh boy,
Yeah, that's the cliff sigil that doubles your cliff damage. You can play those together. Now you're dealing 60.
messed up.
And
Kind of
it's like
messed.
build your own landslide, essentially.
Build your own
Oh,
landslide as Fire Earth Drunk.
go
I guess
landslide.
lava and cliff are the ingredients in real life to make a landslide, right?
Yeah. The
True.
fact that lava takes up only one slot and Cliff takes up two. Yeah, I'm pretty. I think they know what they're doing.
Wait, cliff takes up
Those
2? I thought cliff only took up 1. Oh, it is
no,
2, you're right.
yes, too. Yeah, they
The
definitely want you to play both of those.
That makes
But
lava taking up 1 even crazier to me, to be honest. Lava is really strong for a 1 sigil slot thing.
love is very strong, but not a lot of people are playing Fire Earth. Actually, we
I
do
mean, I
have
think we know
slightly
my
more
thoughts on
Fire
Fire
Earth
Earth. I think
support.
it's a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, we also have the
Very
Heavenly
cheeky.
Marrow Sigil, which at first glance looks like pretty good Fire Earth support as well. That
Yeah.
one
So you can't play
says
that with lava because it is 3
no,
slots.
you can't, but if that's something you're trying to build towards, you have multiple sigils that will help you out until you find your
Yeah, of
ideal
course.
combinations.
You don't have to hit the specific one every game. And I think that's worth noting with all these discussions is that like if you're trying to build around a specific sigil, you can't necessarily guarantee that you'll have it.
yeah.
But if you try to build around
And something I
something
was
where
curious
multiple
about
sigils will
is
help you.
they mentioned that every time you reroll the shop, you'll get only sigils of your tier, I think.
Huh.
And also
Yeah.
that you need to take a sigil to get the upgraded version. So this makes me wonder, like, if you don't take lava on tier 4, does that mean you'll never be able to see the tier 5 version?
Oh god.
That's kind of crazy shop thinning.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not sure if like the lower tier versions still appear because I thought they said when you reroll the shop, you always get your tier, but it might just be up to your tier, which would be a little bit more reasonable.
Hmm. It does
We
reveal.
will have to.
You'll
Yeah.
have to see when it actually is released. But if you only see gold sigils on tier 5, that definitely like changes the consistency a lot.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping it's a translation error.
Yeah.
Same, yeah.
Because also that's like
Yeah.
not
Or
how
just
any of
manually
the
breeding.
mechanics in the game work, really. So
Yeah. I would assume it
Yep.
would be the same as like rerolls, where you can just get sigils of any tier.
Yeah.
I would hope. I really, really hope.
But while we're on
Okay.
the topic of sigils that upgrade, there's one that I think I haven't mentioned at all that I do think I'm realizing now or around now is worthwhile to talk about, which is Heart Pierce.
Heart Pierce.
From the same batch as Waterblade and Lava. It's
Oh.
a tier 2 sigil that is one slot and says, but passive effect after playing Metal Spirit Heart Pierce. If you trigger the penetrate, you return up to 3 of it.
Oh.
So
Oh.
Heart Pierce is an awkward card usually because you want to play it to get your tripod or your whatever, your sharp or whatever, to trigger penetrate on your opponent. But then if the Heart Pierce actually deals damage, you lose the penetrate. And like the idea of this sort of is that you can get 3 of the penetrate back, which isn't much, but it is still helpful for like you can carry that over to your sharp in the mid game. What I'm
Yeah.
wondering is maximum of 3 will be increasing as this levels up, as the sigil levels up. And if you have the tier 5 Heart Pierce sigil, will that like refund 12 penetrate?
Could be.
So how will
Yeah.
this scale? Because if like you can play a board where like you can play Heart Pierce, and then even if your Heart Pierce hits your opponent's HP, you still have enough damage to kill with tripod afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like a big deal for mono metal actually being able to beat defensive boards.
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
the only logical conclusion, right? Because where else we scale from here, you know? I
Well,
I mean,
can't
it
think
could
of
just
any
be the
way
HP number.
to scale.
some of the like sigil tier ups seem to just be extra max HP, so that's the
Yeah.
other thing.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so too.
This
But
one definitely has the potential to upgrade really well or really
yeah,
terribly.
and and,
And
and,
like that'll
and,
determine whether it's just like a nice early
yeah,
game sigil or something you keep as tech all game.
and even if you strip the sigil to its simplest form, if you think about it, it's just sharp but better.
Yeah. Well, you only get 3 back, so it's not necessarily better, but it is still like 2 HP, 3 damage.
And also what Heart Pierce already has pretty fine base attack, right?
Yeah, like Harpy's the card you already want to be playing in like metal mid games anyway. It's just like a fair
Yeah.
amount of stats.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's like a crazy amount of stats or anything. Like we have regulate breathing of a 10 stat sigil on tier 2 for 1G.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's
But I
not
mean, it's
anywhere.
fine.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
something that you're happy to pick up and just play while you're waiting for your better sigil. Something that you can hold on to.
I have kind of as a concluding, not to conclude everything, but do you guys think like broadly, do you think the strong things for the sigil season are going to be like builds that are only made possible by the sigils, or do you think it's going to be like just turbo versions of stuff we've already seen?
It's gonna be a combination of both, right? For example,
Yeah.
stuff like lure enemy and suspend momentum. Suspend momentum. Add one force first during your next few attacks. Yes, both of those stuff are like the things that Dunshan has already been doing, especially on tier 3. And then we get Lure Enemy, which is an entirely a slightly newer thing that the base Xiaobu board doesn't have access to this early on. So yeah, that's what I mean by it's a combination of both.
Yeah. And I'm
I
inclined to
As a
think
think
the
result,
two aren't that different. Because like say you're playing like a mono earth board.
okay, yeah.
Like you can upgrade it with like just like the earth sigil that gives you extra defense, or you can upgrade it with like the marrow sigil, and that it doubles the effect of your marrow, which is already a strict upgrade to the power of your board, but then it also lets you include a second element.
Oh yeah.
So it's augmenting an existing board, but then it's also kind of creating a new one at the same time. And you can like choose, it gives you more options. You can
More
choose to play the board the same way as normal and still have it be more powerful, or you can choose to do something entirely different.
Yeah.
And I think that's
More.
kind of a thing we see with a lot of these sigils. Like you could use Bear to play just like more copy the Divine Walk Fulu,
Oh
or you
god,
could use
yeah.
Bear to do something entirely different. You could use Scarlet and Blood Rage to augment your Crash Fist board, or you could do something weird where you just like use healing to spam with that over multiple cycles. There are a lot, even though like I was talking about the Star Power one, where you can spend Star Power as chi, that can you can use that just to like generate chi in your Polaris board, or you can use that to play like a sort of Exodia board where you play Starry Moon as your chi source to play Great Spirits. And
Uh-huh.
that's something we really haven't ever seen before.
Yeah. It's great.
It is, I think it is pretty fascinating. There's a lot of it, and I hope some of the more interesting, creative, and flexible stuff is what emerges as being important. Because
Yeah,
For
and
sure.
then
it seems like it could be really cool.
and of course I hope that we get to overcome some of the slightly bigger problems that we have already predicted before the season began, which is, the complexity of it all. We had I don't know, some doubts on whether we are going to get uh, on whether we're going to get timer extensions or not, no, or
Yeah.
how we're gonna give people more time to comprehend these new mechanics.
Mhm.
We have so many things to think about and stuff.
Yeah. And I do wonder also, I think the biggest thing I'm nervous about is whether we'll be able to see what sigils your opponent is playing.
Yes, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's probably the most important thing is
Yeah,
can
I
we
think
see
if you're
every
not,
different
that'll be
sigil?
really frustrating in terms of like you
Yeah.
don't know what to play around, and that kind of like
And
makes
even just
strategizing
random amounts of
the
max
game.
HP would be so
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
frustrating.
Yeah.
I think knowing what's going on your opponent's board is a big deal. And especially if you like, there are so many sigils, people aren't gonna memorize them all. And like, if you're missing a fundamental part of how your opponent's board works, that just seems frustrating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it would make the season almost unplayable, to be honest, if you couldn't see the opponents. I mean, it's against the
I
philosophy
will
of
say, I
EGN,
was
right?
very nervous about the season when we first saw the previews, and I think in retrospect, a lot of my nervousness was just under the assumption that you wouldn't be able to see them. If you
I
are,
agree.
I'm a lot more excited about this season.
Oh
I agree,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Like, this
Alright,
seems
alright.
genuinely really cool. And, I mean, worst case, it'll still probably be better than Mirage's, because there's no Astral Fletch.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Mirage's was a season. We've been
Mirages.
talking for a very long time. I have a question that
Yeah.
I'd kind of like to wrap up on. What do you think the
Yes.
first thing you're going to try in the new season is?
Painter Dongximing. There are so many different things you can do with Painter Dongximing. So many sigils that work with their abilities, with astrology, with Polaris, with a lot of different things they want to be doing. I already think they're going to be the big winner of the season. I am playing them day one.
Mm-hmm. Uh, I'm just playing whatever, whatever suits my mood, whatever I feel like playing. But definitely, Waterblade's gonna be on that list. It's only natural that I tried it. What about y'all
Nice.
or you two? What are you gonna try? Aquilo and Abyss.
I think I want to try to play some DX,
Okay.
see what happens.
Huh.
Anything in particular?
Uh, Either Mingming or Xiaobu. Those are the ones I have some minor experience playing. To me, like Tukui is
Either
like,
like debuff stuff or like for shell blue stuff.
mm, I have more experience with debuff, but it seems like we're getting more support for the kind of Xiao Blue plus stuff. So I might play around depending on what seems to be going well or not. get to lure the
Mm,
enemy
start of
toward
the
me.
season, always a good time to learn something new.
Yeah.
No one's surprised it'll be Yan. I'm really liking the debuff support, the variety of sigils that offer debuff support, and I think it'll go well into what I suspect will be a lot of Shimings.
Yeah, we do have.
Yeah. I
we
mean,
do
yeah,
have-
within debuff, internal injury is historically very good against full stat.
Yep.
And
I
I'm
am-
excited
And
for the Exorcism Elixir sigil to play against you every single round.
oh yeah.
I'm excited to hit you with soul cleaving for 400.
Thank you. Yes. Yes, I will enjoy that greatly. Anyone who listens to this also curious what y'all plan to try first in the new season.
Yeah,
If we release this tomorrow, there's comments. Let us know in the comments.
Let us know in the
Yes.
comments.
So that we can
And
improve and grow in power.
yes. Do let us know what we should do better with this. And
And
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you for
Thank you for
listening to
listening to the Understrain podcast.
yeah. Thanks, y'all.